Hey guys, happy Thanksgiving to those of you who are here in the US and celebrating Thanksgiving. Today I have a recommendation video for you guys that I've been kind of hesitant about if I should make, but I was on a live show over on Bree's channel, The Locked Booktician, which I highly recommend you guys go check out her channel and check out that video. And the topic was about politics and booktube and sort of world events and booktube and how that gets represented. And towards the end, we were starting to go through some book recommendations about the ongoing situation in Palestine right now, as well as some of the other atrocities that are happening around the world right now. There was a lot of support in the chat for some kind of consolidated recommendation video. So I am going to be sharing books today that I have been reading and in progress on for educating myself about the ongoing atrocities that are being perpetrated against the Palestinian people. And I'm gonna try to not editorialize a lot about these other than to give some context about what each of these are about. I have not read all of these books. These are books that I am either I've finished some of them, I'm in progress on others, and others I am on hold for at the library right now. So this is just meant to be a reference or a resource for folks, not coming from a place of expertise at all. 0%. I think that these are books that are probably best directed towards Americans. That's the perspective I am coming from, so that is kind of, you know, the intended audience for this, though of course not limited to, just in terms of some of the topics that these books cover. And this is not comprehensive or from my own expertise on this. This is me compiling various recommendations and resources that I've seen over the last month or so. I will also give you a couple of recommendations of where I'm going to go next, which is to learn more about the situation in the Congo. One thing I will say is that when you are trying to learn about something, I think giving yourself time to have deep reading and deep thinking time is important. You know, I mean, that's at least how I internalize things best. So go slow. I have a whole backlog of books I'm currently working on from sort of the Palestinian side of things. And I'm starting to compile ones for Congo. Those two are, I'll just go ahead and say them, Cobalt Red, How the Blood of the Congo Powers Our Lives by Siddharth Kara. And then one that I read in college but would like to do a reread of is King Leopold's Ghost by Adam Hochschild. I think I was in college when I read that. I can at least speak for King Leopold's Ghost. This is a very brutal read, so if you're gonna do it on audio, be careful of little ears who might be around. But that's where I'm at on Congo. That's kind of my next research track, is to get some more resources there. But I'm going to start with where I'm at, which is recommendations for books about Palestine and the history of Palestine and the Israeli occupying force that has been there for the last 75 years. So the number one recommendation that I am going to go ahead and just say for Americans is Freedom is a Constant Struggle by Angela Davis. This is a very accessible book because it is mostly in the form of interview and or speeches that she was giving. But I think the reason that this is a good place to start for Americans is that she is making a lot of very direct tie-ins to the Black Lives Matter movement and some of those things that are more familiar to US domestic politics, and I think talks about the solidarity there in a helpful way. So if you're looking for sort of like philosophically a way to start engaging with challenging some of the indoctrination that Americans are fed about Israel, then I think that would be kind of my number one recommendation. The other one that I have barely started, but is a frequent one I see recommended for kind of accessible history, is Palestine by Joe Sacco. I will say that this has been out of stock a lot of places, which is great. you know, it's exciting to see the interest, but you may have to either get this from the library or wait for it to come back into print in your local bookstore or wherever you buy your books. But this is a graphic novel, and this, I believe, was written in the early 90s, so it is out of date in the sense of not coming up to present time, but sadly still very relevant. And kind of my understanding is that this covers quite a bit of ground of the history in the region in the last, let's say, from maybe like the 40s through the 90s. So this is an accessible history, and that may also be a great place to go. In terms of getting more grounded in the history, there are some good YouTube videos and documentaries out there, but I'm just going to stick to the print side of things. I am on hold for 2 books that are both supposed to be good history ones. One is The 100 Years' War on Palestine by Rashid Khalidi, I think. Sorry, my screen's a little far away. And then The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine by Ilan Pappe. I'm on hold for both of those, but both of those are supposed to have good history. Some free resources. Haymarket Books has published a number of books about Palestine, and they have been offering free ebooks on 3 of them. All of them are kind of more like theory, politics, like philosophy type books. One is Boycott's Divestment and Sanctions by Omar. Ooh, his last name is Barghouti, I believe is what that says. So that is specifically talking about the BDS movement, which was something that started and was effective for ending the apartheid in South Africa. And this is sort of the application of that same concept to Palestinian apartheid. So there's that one. You'll probably have seen the little graphic that they put out recently, kind of giving some guidance on any boycotts that you may want to participate in. Unfortunately, here in the States, many states, including mine, have laws that prevent you from actively advocating for divestiture from institutions. But if you're in a state where that is not the case, then you may want to look into that as well. The second one was Palestine, A Socialist Introduction, which is edited by Sumaya, Awad, and Brian Bean, which my understanding is that is specifically a socialist political lens and interpretation and advocacy for the situation in Palestine. And the third is Light in Gaza, which is edited by Jehad, Abusalim, Jennifer Bing, and others. And I've started on that one. This one is essentially essays like thinking about what the future of Gaza could look like, which I think is important from like a not allowing hopelessness to kind of lead to inaction. So those are the 3 that Haymarket has been offering for free. The other 2 that I got from them, and I finished one and started the other. One is On Palestine by Noam Chomsky and Ilan Pappe. I want to say that in particular, the beginning of this has a section that Ilan Pappe wrote called The Old and New Conversations, which I think is a really good kind of just grounding of like discourse around, you know, this problem. And I thought that this was a nice, you know, it's probably 35 pages summary of sort of general public discourse on the topic that I found helpful. And then a lot of these are also kind of interview style. So if you're interested, again, more in sort of like the social, political, philosophical theory, this could also be a good one. And then on anti-Semitism, this is from the Jewish Voice for Peace, Solidarity in the Struggle for Justice. This is exploring and challenging the Zionist narrative around conflating Zionism or being anti-Zionist with being anti-Semitic. These are Jewish authors who are saying that is not true and exploring like what is anti-Semitism, like what really is it, and then also exploring kind of anti-Zionist Jewish advocacy for Palestine. So I've just started this, but I thought this is an important layer to the conversation, particularly here in the US with the prevalence of APAC. So a couple of theory ones. Again, these are, I think, targeted towards those of us here in the US. This is a book I've been meaning to read for literally probably 15 years, which is A Problem from Hell, America and the Age of Genocide by Samantha Powers. And this is trying to explore the question, why do American leaders who vow never again repeatedly fail to stop genocide? So I think this is an important one. And then I've heard Naomi Klein on a couple of podcasts, and she has this book that's actually pretty old now, but it's called The Shock Doctrine, The Rise of Disaster Capitalism. And there is specifically a chapter about Israel. And this is talking a lot about sort of the political incentives for Western countries to continue to support Israel. Specifically Israel, like vis-a-vis Israel being sort of a testing ground for different sort of policing strategies, policing technologies, and how that is then exported to other countries. So I'm interested to read that chapter in particular. One that Bree recommended that is out of print, which is why I'm putting it in this category because I think it's a little hard to get a hold of, that has been recommended to her from Palestinians, is All That Is Left to You by Ghassan Kanafani. It's out of print, but that is one that her friends in Palestine have recommended to her. Another one that is out of print by Norman Finkelstein, I believe is the author. The Holocaust Industry. I forget the exact title. I will put the cover here. It is also out of print. I'm trying to get my hands on a copy of it, but his parents were survivors of the Holocaust, and it's a book exploring how that trauma is weaponized. Basically. And then a cookbook that was recommended that I have coming, and somebody mentioned that they're going to use this cookbook to cook their Thanksgiving. You guys are watching this on Thanksgiving, so it may be too late, but for your further holiday, there's lots of cooking occasions right now in the US, and this might be a way to kind of explore Palestinian culture. It is a cookbook called Zaytoun by Yasmin Khan, and frankly, just the cover is beautiful. So for that reason alone, a great cookbook to add. And then two picture books that Ashley from Bookish Realm recommended. One is These Olive Trees by Aya Ganame. I swear, I bumped the font on this up so large, and yet without my glasses, I am so blind. I believe that's the last name. And then Homeland, My Father Dreams of Palestine by Hannah Musabak, I believe is what that says, Mushabak. Those are both picture books. So, you know, if you have children and you are wanting to have something approachable to talk about this topic with them, that may be a good recommendation. And also, just who doesn't love story time? Like I said, not trying to come from a place of expertise on this, just trying to be a resource because the overwhelming feedback was that it would be helpful to have sort of a consolidated list. I will have everything listed below. I am going to leave monetization on because I don't want this to die in the algorithm, but any money that I make from this video, I will be donating to PCRF. I believe there should also be a fundraiser attached to this on this video. So yeah, I just felt like this was potentially something helpful. And I also just know that coming up into the end of the year is a time that's a lot about giving back to communities and reaching out to others in the spirit of, you know, sort of goodwill. There are people who really need our advocacy. If you're an American citizen like I am, you know, now's the time to keep being vocal on this topic. So that's it. And am I gonna leave comments on? I don't know if I will. I don't know that I have the time to make sure that that is a welcoming place. So comments may be off on this one. You'll find out at the same time I do. And that's it. Hope that was helpful. And yeah, free Palestine.